Now let's add categories to our blog. So let's start up by generating some files. Model controller migration, PHP artisan make model. So we'll call it category and we'll generate everything. So I've already generated. So let's go to the categories table migration. So here I have added one field called creator ID and another for category name. So basically the creator ID means suppose in your admin panel or your company you have got different users that manages blog, like editor or some author, whatever. Okay, so to track who created categories we have this field. This is optional, you can put that, and another for name of category. So let's go ahead and migrate. PHP artisan migrate. So after that is done, let's go to category controller. So by the way, that created this categories table over here. Alright, so here we generated this controller, and in this controller I put this the simple code like to show all categories. By the way, I've also created category resources by running PHP artisan make resource category resource. Alright, so once that is created, we can use that resource like so. So for store I make this name required and also unique. So this name should be, this category name should be unique, and it will reference the categories table to check if it is unique or not. So if it is not, user try to submit same categories which already exist, it will say proper validation message. Next we have we are getting this input and we are just putting the creator ID with, we are replacing creator ID with currently authenticated user ID, and then simply we are creating a new category and we are just returning that newly created category. So method is quite simple, just returning that instance. And for update also simple, like we are updating this and we are updating all input, and delete will be pretty basic. So let's go ahead and test this API endpoints in Postman. So before that we need to put that route in admin, routes admin.php. so like so we have to put like so categories, which will reference to category controller. Alright, so let's switch back to Postman. Here we'll first get all categories. If we send request to this endpoint, so it is asking us to log in. Yeah, unauthenticated. So our cookie is expired. Let's go back to browser and let's log back in with the registered user, and we'll make use of the cookie. So view cookie information, and we'll need this Laravel session. Let's go back to Postman and create new cookie, or we can just update the value of this expired session. Alright, so yeah, we can make it any future value like 23 June. Okay, so now we should get access. Alright, so currently we have no data. Now let's go ahead and create new category. Let's send post request to same endpoint with our form data name, first category, and let's go ahead and send it. So there we go, we created the endpoint, the new category with creator ID in place. We can go ahead and check get should also return code, and let's go ahead and send pull request. So let me check one more thing, like if it is hooking in the right validation rule or not. So we already created this category with this name, first category. Now let's try to create another with same name. Let's hit send. It should show us validation error. Yeah, so the given data is invalid, the name has already been taken. So first category new, it should create a new one. There we go. So now let's go ahead and check our update route. We'll send put request with our raw, like so. So update it, let's go ahead, update it, new category, updated new category. Let's go ahead and update. Sorry about that, we need to pass the category ID as well. Looks like category we do not, with ID 3. Let's try to edit this with ID 3. Third category we want to update with this name. So currently we have this first category. Now we'll update this updated new category. There we go. So updated new category, if we just list them, we should get the updated, or yeah, just show route. So now let's go ahead and delete this, and that should work as well. Yeah, delete it. Let's try to list all of the categories, and we shouldn't get the third one. All right, so our categories endpoint is working. Next what we'll do is we'll integrate it with blog. So we already created blog API. So now if user gives the category while creating blog, it should associate that category to particular blog. Okay, so the relationship between blog and categories will be many to many, because one blog can have many categories, and one category can belongs to many blogs. All right, so first thing first, we'll create a mapping table, a table for many to many relationship. So I'll create a new migration, PHP artisan make migration. So I will call it create a blog category table. So you can name it anything you want. I just follow this convention, singular name of two tables. So we already got blogs table and categories table, so singular name of both in alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and create. Let's go to that table, create blog category table. There we go. So now we'll add two fields, one for blog ID and another for category ID. There we go. So this is important. We can we have to give like this unsigned big integer, because if you go to blog table, so it got this primary key big increments. So you can just give integer, but while assigning foreign key it might say some error. For now this is fine. Okay, so that should be the two keys that we require. Now let's go ahead and migrate this table as well. PHP artisan migrate it. Let's confirm it, that is created. refresh. So we got this table, block category. Perfect. Now let's go to the block controller where we already defined our API. So now what we need to do is we just need to integrate that associating categories part. So we need to update two endpoints like store and update. So while storing, so up to this point we got newly created block here, and after we got this newly created block, we'll just access the categories, and then we'll call sync method, and then we'll access the input. We can access like request categories. So this will be the key which will be passing from our front end. We'll check if we are getting categories or not. So if request filled, so if request is filled categories, so we are just checking if we are getting categories in from our front end. If so, then we will just update our block or associate categories to our. So we'll make changes in a moment. First let's define this method. So let's define this relationship between block and categories. Let's go to block, and here I will define categories. So return this belongs to many. So belongs to many category class. Alright, so make sure to import this class. Alright, so belongs to many category class, and then we have to so this is optional step. If you followed convention like I do, this table name is like block category, then you need not to define this intermediate table mapping table name. So just to be safe, just to show you, I can define like so. This is optional if you follow convention. And then we have to give the block ID. So since we are defining this relationship on block, so this is the foreign key on this block category table, that's why we need to define like that. And similarly another joining key like so. Okay, so that's it. So this completes the relationship definition. Now in block like so, we can just sync categories. So these categories will be the array of integer or array of category ID. Alright, so one more thing to consider here, if for example let's say in from our front end, so in front end I'll be using something like this combo box. So what this will help us is, suppose we have already these category in our table and we define this, and suppose we want to define any new one, so new category which is not already in table, and do enter. So what I want is I will associate all these three tags which are already present in database, but what I will do is I will just create this new category on the fly and then associate that, because this is not yet created on our database. So let's go ahead and create that before syncing up. So categories, so I will define new method, make category IDs, or I will call create categories. Alright, so let's define that. So this will be the array of categories. which will be passing the input data request from front end. So this will be coming from front end. So what we are doing is we are just passing the front end data and then properly creating if there is not already categories, and then we are just trying to associate that to blog. Sorry, we'll create if there is not any category created in database, and then we'll associate that. So this categories will be array, and what we'll do is IDs. So this will be the empty ID. So we'll loop through each of these categories and we'll check if so what we'll do is we'll pass the array of arrays. So we'll pass array from our front end for, let me show you what I mean by that. Let's go to CodePen and let's see. Alright, so I have created here a simple example in CodePen what we are going to integrate on our front end. So we'll have simple this beautify combo box that is similar to the select box, and we'll have some items coming from database like so. So for example, if user wants to associate this category 1 cat1 to the category 1 to the blog, then it will have simply this value. So this will be going as array to our backend, so like so. And if I create new category, then it will be simply a string. Alright, so that will be the difference. So that is how we differentiate new category from the existing one. So existing one got array, so new one got just a string. So we'll check that in our API. So here if is array, so if is array category, so if category is array, what we'll do is we'll just push the ID to this array. Category ID, we'll just grab the ID of category and then just return it. Else we will just push the IDs. Sorry, what we'll do is we'll first create new category. Alright, so new category. So new category will be categories create category create. Make sure to import that class category create, and then we'll just give name, and the name will be the category itself, which will be coming as a string. And also we want to, so we have another field called creator ID in our category table, that will be simply the auth ID, like so. There we go. So this will create new category and then it will return that newly created category. Simple as that. So make sure to make this field fillable on your category model, like so. Alright, so there we got new category, and we'll just push that to our IDs array. So this will be the resulting IDs that will be passing new category ID. Alright, so that's it, and just return the constructed IDs. This will be the category IDs. So all categories ID will be going as ID here, and this function we are using up here we'll got all category IDs, and then we'll sync that. So sync is the function we can call in many-to-many relationship, which will just sync all the IDs to the block. Alright, so yeah, so store part is complete. Let's check this out in Postman. So API blocks, So currently we got these items in our block. So what we'll do is we'll also want to see the categories as new key. Alright, so currently here we cannot see any categories. So what we'll do is let's go to block controller and let's go to index route. So here blocks will eager load categories. There we go. So it should show us categories key now. Yeah, categories. So currently that is empty. So here in index we have updated that. Similarly we can update it on this block resource. So after resource, just load categories. Similarly we can load on show view as well, just to make the request structure consistent, otherwise it won't show up in this show route. So currently none of these got category. So now let's try to create a new category with new block with category. Okay, so I'll call it new block with category. So what I will do is I will instead use this raw instead of this form data, because we'll need some array thing. Okay, so we got title, content, and here in categories we are accepting, in block create, so we are accepting like this input field categories. So let's follow that, categories, and this will be the array. So let's see in our database we got any existing category. Yeah, we have not yet created any category, not here in categories table. Yeah, so we got one category, so this category got id 4. Okay, so let's head back to Postman and then I will define here. So let's say we got from our input one this id category, this existing category this is. So although we do not need this name, just id will do. And then another one we got dynamic category on the fly. Yeah, let's say dynamic category. So this dynamic category doesn't exist on our database, so we'll create this, and this is the already existing. So these categories we are trying to insert in our this newly created block that we'll be going to create. You know what, we can just pass object, we cannot pass like this. Okay, so that's it. So this will be the front end structure of our request that will be sending to this endpoint. So let's try to send this request and see if we got any error. Yeah, looks like it worked. So we created new block with this content with this category. Yeah, so we got this existing category and we got this dynamic category which is just created on the fly. Let's confirm that on our database as well. There we go. Yeah, so our create endpoint is working fine. We can go to get route and just verify that as well. Yeah, so newly created block with category, and others do not got any categories. So let's go ahead and update the update method as well. So that update method will also be similar, like so we can steal this code from here, and let's go to update and after updated code we got this. So update will be also exactly same, because while updating form we already got the existing existing values on our field. So we'll be adding something new or we'll be removing something, so we will get all those fields from here and then we can simply update that. So let's go ahead and update the same block that we just created. Yeah, this one. So updated new block with category. So this time we'll just remove everything and we'll just there will be just one category with this ID. So now what expected result is, we should this new dynamic category shouldn't be on this block, that shouldn't be associated with this block. Alright, so currently that is associated here, and we can see that there as well here with ID 4 and 5 for this block number 15. See block number 15 here. So block number 15 got two categories with ID 4 and 5. So we just want to update with this only one category. So we should send put request, and then let's send that request, and let's see, yeah, it updated. There we go. So suppose we want any new ID, that should be also same, new updated cat. Looks like this structure is a bit new updated. Yeah, so we got exact the required behavior. So now our blog is functional. We can add categories, we can update categories in our existing blocks.